Pompeo, former Secretary of State in the Trump administration. Mr. Secretary, good to finally get you hooked up today. Let me get your thoughts as we put that map up on the screen a second ago showing where the Russian forces are arrayed around the eastern section of Ukraine. The president in his press conference seemingly suggesting that a minor incursion across the border would be something that may be tolerated. He's since tried to clarify his remarks, but I'm wondering, is the damage done? Because he said the quiet part out loud. I'm sure that those are things that are being said in meetings of the National Security Council, but weren't meant for public consumption.
John, you can't clean things like that up. When the commander-in-chief speaks, the world hears it. And so you can send out Jen Psaki or the National Security Council or anybody else, but you can't fix what the president said. He made clear that there are certain things we will find acceptable. It reminded me very much of what he said when he personally met with Vladimir Putin and said certain cyber attacks against the United States would be okay if it wasn't in one of the 16 enumerated sectors. So I think Vladimir Putin's got his number, understands that. He increased the risk to the Ukrainian people. You can see the Ukrainian leader immediately reacted when he heard it. So they heard exactly what the rest of the world heard as well. This is not good. It won't protect American interests. It won't help the Europeans. And it certainly puts Ukraine, including all of the southern belt, all the way up and through Odessa along the Black Sea, at real risk.
Yeah, you know, I can't help but thinking, Mr. Secretary, that if President Trump had said something like Joe Biden said the other day, that the media would have lost its collective mind. But the Wall Street Journal seems to have read this right. The headline in a Wall Street Journal editorial: how Ukraine feels about a minor incursion by Russia. Did Biden commit a blunder like Dean Acheson's on Korea? Just a quick history lesson. Back in 1950, the Secretary of State, Dean Acheson, gave a speech in which he indicated that the United States would pull away from South Korea in terms of its defense sphere, which North Korea basically read as a green light to go into South Korea, starting the Korean War.
John, it sure feels that way. Sandra, you can see this too. It falls against the backdrop of an administration that has repeatedly failed to uphold the deterrence model that the Trump administration had, whether that was with the Taliban in Afghanistan or on Nord Stream 2 or so many other places around the world. I think these leaders can observe that what President Biden said this week about minor incursions is precisely a fit of the appeasement model that we're executing with the Iranians in Vienna. And this doesn't bode well for our ability to preserve the things that really matter the most to the United States.
You know, yesterday in the White House, our Jackie Heinrich asked President Biden why he wasn't being more proactive in terms of you know, his approach to Putin. Let's play that exchange here and get your take on it.
Why are you waiting on Putin to make the first move, sir?
So the president responded saying, what a stupid question. Brett Bruen, who was President Obama's director of global engagement, backed Jackie up saying, quote, it isn't a stupid question. It's a really important one. We continue to allow Putin to set the terms, timeline, and trajectory of this crisis. It's time we stop being so reactive and start creating some of our own conditions. Is the president being too passive here, Mr. Secretary?
There's no doubt. We've been on our back foot with Russia since, well, it's 366 days now, John, right? 1 year of the Biden administration. We've been on our back foot since we allowed the pipeline to continue built by the Russians, but not our own here at home. So we've hurt America's energy industry, and we've put ourselves at risk. We watched Vladimir Putin allow cyber attacks from his space. These are the kinds of things that have put us on the back foot. I hope Secretary Blinken, when he met with Foreign Minister Lavrov today, tried to fix that, tried to put us back in the right way. But the credibility, the American credibility, when we say these things with no capacity to actually execute, not just words, but actually execute deeds that demonstrate American resolve, is de minimis. I hope NATO and the EU will act in a way that is less passive and more proactive, too. It will take all of us to push back against what Vladimir Putin intends. When you see him begin, not only to put folks in Russia, but to move equipment and people into Belarus in the way the reports indicate, it is pretty clear that Vladimir Putin thinks he has the American number.
Good to get your thoughts on this, Mr. Secretary. I hope you have a good weekend, too. Thank you.
Thank you. All have a great weekend, too. Thank you.
Thank you.